Officer of Marketing at Carroll College. And my son just graduated, so I stole his alumni mug. But,
All right.
But we, like I said, we're traveling across the state, and I have the list of regional locations, and I think the only one that we're not going to do is Lincoln. So we're going to make it to Lewistown, Havre, Great Falls, Butte, and then we've done Hamilton, Kalispell, Bozeman, you guys, Missoula, Helena, and then we're heading to Glendive. So the goal is that the MAR wants to know how to better service the regions, how to provide as much resources as possible. I interviewed with 3 executive officers from different parts of the state and got their feedback as far as what they thought was necessary, because you wouldn't request research if there wasn't something going on, and so they want to kind of get the opinion out there, and surveys can only get so much. So by coming out and talking to populations, you can get an idea of where the time-consuming issues are, where you think there might be a gap as far as professionalism and other things like that. So through those conversations and through conversations with the committee. So you're on the committee, or Jenny? Okay.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Jenny, Dean, Mark Simonich, Frida Wilkinson, Cindy Stevig, and then Taylor, the president of the MAR, has been on these meetings. And so we sent out a really short survey. I don't know if you guys remembered seeing it, just a quick 2-minute survey. Do you remember anything about it?
Vaguely.
Vaguely. It was quick, and that's what I said. You have to
It was
put
a
quick
multiple
2 minutes.
choice one.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
was easy, and all we wanted was a little bit of prior information to get an idea, how many supervising brokers, how many agents are they actually supervising, how far agents typically live away from their supervising brokers, how do they communicate, what do they feel are the gaps. So we found that the majority of the communication, which isn't surprising, we assume that a lot of it's going to be live, face-to-face, but it's actually more email and text, which those are quicker, and if we're just sending, something back and forth, that doesn't mean that you're not meeting face-to-face, that just means that that's something that's happening more. So if there's something that MAR can do to help that communication become better, then, they could do that. The second thing is, where are the gaps as far as, what's seen as the biggest need across the state to maintain that level of professionalism. And so it's pre-license training, post-license training, mentorship, professionalism, which is pretty broad spectrum, and ethics. And so they're not really surprising. I'm not going to make you guys play the little game, but usually sometimes the groups in Helena, we had 15 brokers that came, and it was way overwhelming. And they were just really chatty, conversational. Everybody had a really big opinion. So it was very interesting. So that's when we started videotaping, because this woman that I'm working with, she's like, I can't hear one person over another. And so you guys will be very, very easy.
Yeah, right.
And
Anything that's a room full of realtors.
so that's how we felt. And it was a 6 p.m. meeting, which we're gonna do that same one in Lewistown, I think. Which I'm like, I don't know if it was the time of day. I have no idea. But then they all were like, "Where's the beer?" Well, there wasn't any beer, but it might have been. It might have been easier, but it was good. We got a lot of really good information. But Mark Simonich said, I'd really like to do it again, and maybe only invite 8, not not have like this massive crowd, because some say nothing, and then the really opinionated ones kind of dominate the conversation. So the issues, like I said, are those, and we've come up with a lot of things, which I won't lead you guys, to. I'll mention some of the things that we've talked about, but I kind of want your opinion, where you see the gaps. So tell me about your years in the industry, and how many people you supervise, and maybe some of the things that you see now, maybe as compared to earlier in your career.
Well, I've been a realtor for 18 years.
Okay.
I've been a broker for probably 16 16 to 17 of those years.
Okay.
I'm currently a broker owner and a supervising broker. So there's 2 supervising brokers in my office, and we split it. And so there's 21 agents, so we split that. Some of those people are brokers, so we each supervise 8, I think, about 8.
Okay.
And you know, what I find to be the most difficult is during the training, because they're always busy, and it's trying to pin them down for more training. I guess I think that it would be beneficial if there was more mandatory training for new agents.
Okay.
I know the rookie course is good, but
Okay.
I almost think there should be a follow-up course.
Okay, so we're definitely gonna talk about that. So you're saying that they're so busy because they're just kind of learning a lot
Well,
of different things?
They're busy. Part of it is a lot of them have a part-time job while they're trying to get started. And so you're trying to work around their schedule, or you say, okay, I'm gonna be here at 10 o'clock Monday morning, and at the last minute I can't, I gotta go do this, it's trying to get them, that's typical to the industry, to the type of people that work in the industry.
Okay.
We're kind of loose cannons.
Okay, yep.
And so, I don't think you can change that. But I
Okay.
thought if there was more mandatory stuff that they were required to show up at,
Okay.
I think that it would be, you'd
Okay.
get more,
Okay, so how many hours of training for your agency do you require for those?
we don't have requirement.
Okay,
We rarely take on brand new agents,
Okay.
although we currently have 2 that we're training.
okay,
So we don't necessarily have hours that are committed, just because it's almost impossible to do.
okay, okay, so I'll come back, because I want to know what the gaps are that you see between once they leave their 60-hour online, or however they did their initial licensing training, and then the rookie course, what you're seeing as their,
Well, the rookie course is coming up, so both of them will have to take that
okay,
coming up, so they have not done that yet.
okay,
Okay.
so they're still, okay, so Julie,
So,
years?
first of all, I think, I don't know, 11 or 12, I think,
Okay.
I've been in real estate. I started out at Century 21
Mm-hmm,
and we had great training there.
mm-hmm.
It was 3 or 4 weeks, I can't remember, of classroom, 8 to 5, mandatory.
So you couldn't be part-time?
You could not be.
Okay,
Which
And-
is-
okay.
And I don't know what so I'm at Metro now. So I bought in at Metro as a broker owner
Mm-hmm,
6 years ago. I lose track of time. 6
Mhm.
years ago or so. I don't know what Century 21's doing now, but what I had was what you need. I mean,
Mhm.
and Mark the broker would call you at home. Didn't call me, but some of the other people in the class, if they didn't show up, he
mm-hmm,
would call and say, get here.
Mhm.
There was no question. It was you worked for him and you were there 8 to 5, Monday through Friday for 3 or 4 weeks for training. And he had a full-time trainer who was a veteran. She
Mhm.
didn't really sell anymore, but she was a
Mhm.
veteran agent. And then he had a lot of the more established agents that worked under him come in and do sessions with us.
Mhm.
We did shadowing, we went to closings with him, we went to showings with them. So that was fantastic. Metro's completely different. So I only supervise one person now. I'm the designated broker at Metro, but that just means I'm kind of the liaison between the bar and the
Mhm.
12 of us that are broker owners.
mm-hmm,
I don't even know what we have, 40 agents? I'm not even sure. And
mm-hmm.
I only have one under me. And then you have like Dana Wagenhals probably has 10.
Okay,
There's a couple that don't have anyone, so it just is up to each broker who they want to bring in. I won't probably bring in a new agent. The one I
Mhm.
have under me she's been doing it almost as long as me.
Okay.
So, and I didn't need to train her.
Okay.
She was trained. She just
Okay.
needed a place to land and she needed a broker to work under. And
okay,
so the other brokers in my office, everybody does their training different.
Okay.
And I would have to say it's very haphazard, it's very informal.
Okay.
It needs to be more.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of us bringing in new agents.
okay,
I kind of thought when I came to Metro that it was just established agents. I didn't realize we were going to go down this path of bringing in brand new ones.
mhm,
And it seems like Twyla said, they are part-timers. They've got,
mhm,
they aren't dedicated to coming in the
Mhm.
office
mhm.
8 to 5, Monday through Friday, or for a formal training. So I may not be the right person for this focus group.
No, you
because
are,
I'm-
yeah. No, you definitely are, because so when we had this Helena group, that was so loud and long and exhausting. Yeah, he was like going back, yeah, but I thought, oh my gosh, I will never make it through 11 of these, because that one was just, this is just a conversation that we're having, that was like, yeah, but it would be, I believe it should be this way, I believe it should be that way. I mean, you had a lot of franchises, large franchises, and you had a lot of small independent. But seeing that from your perspective, I have experience just from selling real estate or buying real estate. I have 10 years of sales experience with Merck Pharmaceuticals, so I had very structured 3 to 5 months of very structured in the office training, and then a month of sales training. And so I know exactly what you're talking about. I don't feel like I could ever have done my job if I didn't have somebody there, all the time answering my questions. And so for your opinion, it's
amazing.
So what someone said in this first Helena meeting was, and you got people from the state, answering their phone, that work for the state, I'll call you back after I get out of work, or I'll call you back on my break, I'm at work right now, so somebody calls about a listing or whatever. And so their thought was, that's not professional. You should be, if you're going to be doing this, you should be professional. And we had a woman who was a urgent care nurse, and critical care nurse, and then in retirement she's been selling real estate. So she said, it was great for me to get started in my other career, to transition. And so there's no perfect way, and you guys are all loose cannons. You're all independent.
Salespeople.
You're independent. And for me, I felt like we all at Merck dressed the same. We all had the same, you couldn't go too far beyond the suit and shoes and the whole thing. But real estate's a whole different animal. And so I think what we need to find is something that works for everyone and that MAR can help with. So your first statement is what I've heard everywhere, which was to make pre-licensing a little bit more extensive, or even after licensure, that first year, even if you can't do an 8 to 5, because we've had Exit, we've had Century 21, Keller Williams, we have Big Sky Brokers in Helena. But we've had a lot of different methods or systems, and some are really rigid, and recommendations that have been made were, well, everybody should start with a big agency, and then they can go where they want to go. Well, that puts a lot of burden on the bigger agencies.
And I feel like that too. That's
Yeah.
kind of like, hey, get an agent that's been at Century 21
Yeah.
for a few years.
It's almost like they need to be in an apprenticeship.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
the appraisers do. They need to be in an apprenticeship.
Right.
But the problem is with that is, how do they make a living doing that?
Yeah.
Right.
And, that would certainly cut the numbers of realtors down.
And it's
But
a burden for you.
it's a burden
Yeah, that's
for-
what I was just
yeah,
going to say. It's
it
a
is a
burden
burden.
for that supervising broker, which is why the broker owner of Century 21, Mark, had a full-time trainer.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he didn't have the time to sit in the classroom, and she was not selling anymore, and he employed her. She was
Right.
not, commissioned, she was a salary
Right.
employee. I don't
But
think
how does a
everybody can do
smaller
that.
agency do that?
Yeah,
And
we
how
could,
does
we could never do that at Metro.
Um,
There would never be
what
enough
I-
money for that.
No, there isn't. And so what I do is, like, my new gal that I'm training is, she shadows. She
Mhm.
shadows, and every time I get something, I go through it with her, title prelims, anything that comes across,
Mhm.
anything. We go through it, she sits and listens to me do presentations, and she, it's an apprenticeship basically is what she's doing.
Right.
But there'll come a point where, she will actually start branching out, but she won't be able to do anything on her own. If she wants to write a buy-sell, I will have to be there for that.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
if she wants to list, I will be there for those things.
And how long do you feel you need to be there for her?
Depends on the individual completely, but you're at least a year
Okay.
before they have enough transactions under their belt to where you start to feel like, okay, you go ahead and write this up, but let me proof it before you present it,
Okay.
that sort of thing.
Okay.
So, some people are very quick, others
Mhm.
are, they just aren't quick learners, or, they
Mhm.
just don't soak it up, or they're very unsure of themselves,
It's just
so.
impossible to try to teach everybody
everybody's different.
everything they can.
Oh,
I still learn
20
things.
years and I'm still like,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
that's new.
Well, and also in every scenario is different. So
Mhm.
you have situations that may only happen once in a lifetime, but you need to be be able to at least know who to go to ask about
Maybe,
that
yeah,
situation.
right.
Yeah.
So what would you think would be an ideal, so if you had to pick an ideal first year rookie, so the situation is with the rookie course, you have to wait until it's offered, so you have that gap of time after after post-licensure, but before the rookie course. It can be up to 11 months, so I don't know how long your
She's still waiting for her license to come back from
Okay,
BRR, which takes
Yeah, that takes a while, doesn't
a
it?
month or more now.
that's what-
That is the other thing that, I don't know if you have any pull with that, it's insane
they,
how long they are.
I know, I'll just march right down.
Yeah. Yeah, can you go over and talk to them, because they won't listen to us.
Someone
It's
said-
really not acceptable.
It isn't.
There's no reason.
It is.
No,
so
someone
upsetting.
said you used to be able to drive there on the same day and they would print it out for you, and now it's like, oh, it's a month. So, what someone recommended in Kalispell with that month was you can't start doing transactions. So why not, if it looks like it's gonna be pretty much across the board, 3 weeks to a month, do some type of, maybe even online or live online type training where they can be working with, a trainer that may be in Helena or maybe in Bozeman or somewhere.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And so they have that, because it's kind of a time where, they're gonna get involved in your firm, but they're also still in that formative time because they've just finished learning. And sometimes, so we had 3 women in Helena that were agents, all finished about the same time. 2 stayed with the same agency, they're about 3 years out. And the second one was with her 3rd agency already. And so she had moved and moved and moved, and she said she just hadn't felt like until she was where she was at that point that she had really learned what she needed to know. And so they all agreed, even from an agent perspective, that more training would be better. Because we think that it's just, the managers, right, that are saying, you guys need better training, but they actually agree.
Yes,
sure.
I know that
Because they're scared,
Your agency
and
might
that's
have.
what I see, even 3-5 years in the industry, they're saying, I am so scared still, and I feel like I shouldn't still be asking questions, but, so something, we were kind of tossing ideas at other locations around about something that could be not just a flip through PowerPoint, online type situation where at the end you take the quiz, but something where it might be a teacher in one location doing some type of digital projection where students from across the state will Skype in and they'll do some type of training or something more in depth during that month to get them just looking. So the pre-licensing testing is really generic, and what everybody says is that it's just kind of
teach you to get past the test.
just to pass the
Change.
test. Some specifics about Montana that we're gonna try to look at possibly changing maybe those questions. But then you're looking at specifics that they need to learn about either the region or the state. So, would that be something, if we have to wait 3 or 4 weeks, would that be something that you would think?
If you could get them to do it, that's
Okay.
the thing.
Yeah.
It would almost need to be mandatory, otherwise I just think that,
Okay.
that month will go by and they'll be out doing whatever, not
Mhm.
getting online and doing those things. I
Okay.
think unless they're told they have to,
Okay,
you're gonna get real low compliance.
so
Just
mandate,
sad.
Yeah,
okay.
but it's,
But that's the
I think it's
perception,
true.
is this is easy money and you just
Mhm,
get your
mhm.
license and it's like HGTV and
Mhm.
Right,
Mhm.
you
they
go to
watch
the
too
open
much of
house
that.
and, exactly,
Mhm.
yeah, and they don't
Mhm.
understand they have to treat it like they're working for an
Mhm.
employer. I probably wouldn't be here today, honestly, if I hadn't started at Century 21 and, no, I mean, I'm driven,
Mhm.
but I mean, I needed that structure.
Mhm.
There's not, I think there's not a week that goes by that I don't think back to something Virginia Northridge told me in training that I didn't go, at the time I thought, and now I go, oh, she's spot on. She was
Yeah.
so right.
Yeah,
You know, just advice on how to have a life and still do your job. And,
Mhm.
you know,
because nobody talks about that. I
you
mean,
don't
I,
have a clue what you're in for when you get your license.
No.
You don't have a
No.
clue.
and there's such, so to me, I mean, it's a low barrier to entry. You have, whatever you pay, and there, some people may say that's a lot of money, but whether it's $600 to $1,000 to take your licensing exam, that's not that much money.
No.
You only need, so someone said in Hamilton the other day that now you do need a high school diploma, that they said originally 2 years of high school. She went to file her license and they